All right, imagine this. You're at a museum, standing in front of this incredible sculpture, right? So detailed, so intricate. You can't even fathom how much work went into creating it.
Yeah, it's awe-inspiring, isn't it?
Totally. But here's the thing. We rarely stop to think about the other team, whose work is just as crucial, the art handlers. Those are the folks who make sure that masterpiece even arrived in one piece.
It's true. We often get so caught up in the final product, displayed so beautifully in the gallery, we don't always consider the journey it took to get there.
And that's exactly what we're diving into today, going behind the scenes to explore the work of these art world MVPs, the art handlers.
They really are the unsung heroes of the art world.
And you know how much we love a good deep dive here? You guys send in some amazing resources from RoleCatcher, which, side note, if you're looking for career advice, their website is seriously a goldmine.
I've heard great things about RoleCatcher.
It's like a Swiss Army knife for job seekers. We've got their art handler career guide, even some interview prep tips, which, let's be honest, could we all use a little help with that sometimes?
Absolutely. Who couldn't use a little extra guidance?
For sure. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's start with the basics. What does an art handler actually do?
You know, it's really so much more than what meets the eye. We're not just talking about moving heavy objects, though. Strength and stamina are definitely part of the job description.
Right, I'd imagine.
These are highly trained professionals responsible for the safety and preservation of, let's be real, some pretty priceless and often very delicate pieces. Think about it. They need to know how to handle all sorts of different materials, pack and ship art safely, install these pieces securely.
Well, hold on. I've genuinely never even considered the packing and shipping aspect.
Right.
That's a whole other level of logistics and expertise right there.
Precisely. And you know, that actually ties into an important point RoleCatcher made about the scope of this job. Art handlers, they aren't just working in those grand museums we picture.
Oh, really?
They might be in climate-controlled storage facilities, and let me tell you, technology plays a huge part in art preservation these days, or even private collections.
Wow, I had no idea.
Ever wonder who installs those constantly rotating exhibits you see at museums?
Wait a minute, those are the art handlers.
You got it.
Wow. Okay, so they really are like the special ops team of the art world, handling these high-value, delicate operations with such precision and care.
That's a fantastic way to put it. Their office can be anything from a museum loading dock to get this a collector's private jet.
Are you kidding me?
Nope. Talk about variety.
No kidding. Okay, flexibility is listed as a pro in this career guide, and I am just now starting to fully get it. It's not just about, like, literally bending over backwards. It's about being able to adapt to all these wildly different situations and environments on the fly.
Exactly. Being able to think on your feet is crucial in this line of work.
I bet. But I have to wonder, I'm guessing that variety comes with its own set of challenges, doesn't it? And, I was looking through this RoleCatcher guide, and they don't sugarcoat anything.
Right. They're pretty upfront.
They lay out the cons, too. Things like the physical demands of the job, the irregular hours, which honestly, when you're working around priceless masterpieces, that kind of comes with the territory, right?
It definitely comes with the territory. And let's be honest, it's not always glamorous.
That's the mention.
Remember, these are irreplaceable objects. We're talking about, like, one-of-a-kind pieces of history, of culture.
Yeah.
One wrong move could be, well, disastrous, to say the least.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even want to think about it.
Right. That's why art handlers, they're incredibly meticulous. They follow these super strict protocols. I mean, we're talking every touch, every movement. It's all deliberate. It's all informed. Like, think about seemingly simple tasks, adjusting a sculpture's lighting or maybe moving a painting so it can undergo restoration.
Right, things that seem so straightforward.
But behind the scenes, I'm telling you, it's all about meticulous planning and flawless execution. Every step of the way.
So yeah, it's definitely not like hanging a picture frame in my living room. Though I have to say, going through this deep dive, it's making me realize how those art handlers' skills, that crazy attention to detail, the ability to follow procedures, like religiously, those are valuable in pretty much any field.
Oh, absolutely. You're totally right. Whether you're handling, priceless artifacts or, say, managing a complex project at work, those core skills, invaluable, because it's not just about preventing damage, right? It's about preserving a legacy. Think about it. These objects, they offer us this window into history, into different cultures.
That's a really beautiful way to put it.
And it's the art handler's job to make sure that these pieces can be appreciated for generations to come. That's a huge responsibility.
Wow, I'd honestly never thought about it that way, but you're absolutely right. Speaking of responsibility, I was actually really surprised to read in the RoleCatcher guide that this whole field of art handling is, like, growing.
It is, which when you really stop and think about it, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I guess so.
We're seeing all these new museums and galleries popping up left and right, and the existing ones, they're expanding their collections, they're getting bigger, literally adding on physical space.
That's true.
So naturally, you need more trained professionals who can take care of and manage all these pieces.
That's a really good point. So it's not just some little niche field that's, kind of fading away.
Oh, definitely not. In fact, RoleCatcher really stresses how important it is for art handlers to stay updated. They even highlight a bunch of these professional organizations that can help art handlers stay ahead of the game, with all the new techniques, new technologies. Because, believe it or not, the art world, it's always changing.
Wow. Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's just like any other profession. You've got to keep learning and growing if you want to stay relevant.
Exactly. And speaking of learning and growing, I know you were curious about RoleCatcher's interview prep resources.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I gotta admit, I was a little skeptical at first. I mean, can a computer really help you prepare for something as, nuanced as an art handling interview?
Right. I'm with you on that. I mean, it just seems like such a specialized field. Can an algorithm really understand the nuances of what makes someone a good art handler? I have my doubts.
Right.
It's just, I don't know, it's hard to imagine a computer grasping those more intangible qualities.
I get it. It's easy to be skeptical. But honestly, it's not about the computer, like, giving you canned responses or anything. It's more about analysis.
Okay, I see where you're going with that.
Like, RoleCatcher's AI, it takes your practice responses and breaks them down, things like how clear you are, how well you structure your answer, and this is a big one, how you actually tailor what you're saying to the specific job you want and what that company's values are.
Ah, okay, so it's more about, like, fine-tuning your approach, not just, like, spitting out generic answers.
That's it. It's about honing your message. But here's what I found super interesting. RoleCatcher, they highlighted this one question that kept popping up in mock interviews. How did you become an art handler? Sounds kind of basic, right?
Yeah, actually, I'd probably walk into an interview and just launch into my whole, like, educational background. You're like, well, I have a degree in art history. Maybe not the best approach.
See, and that's the point. It's not about rattling off your qualifications. It's about conveying your passion. They want to know about your unique path to this work. Maybe it was that art history degree, but maybe it was like volunteering at that little gallery in your hometown when you were in high school.
Or, like some people, they were always those kids who built the most incredible, complex Lego structures you'd ever seen. Maybe those skills translate.
You're actually not too far off. It's about being able to showcase those experiences, even the ones that seem totally unrelated, and like connect the dots for the interviewer.
Hmm.
Reveal your meticulous side, your problem-solving skills, and ultimately show them how much you value art.
So it's less about the resume and more about, like, why this work genuinely resonates with you on a personal level.
You nailed it. And that's something a computer can't fake. That authentic enthusiasm, that genuine spark, that's all you.
Wow, I have to say, this whole conversation has been incredibly eye-opening. We really went from unpacking, like, the literal tasks of moving these priceless works of art to uncovering the duper skills and that driving passion that these art world guardians possess.
Absolutely. And, it made me think we talked about RoleCatcher and how they emphasize those transferable skills, right? But what if we flip that around for a second? Like, we've uncovered all these essential skills of an art handler, that meticulousness, the problem solving in those high pressure moments, and even the ability to communicate the value of something to other people. Think about it. How could you apply those skills in your own work, in your life, even if you're not, working in a museum or a gallery?
Wow, yeah. That's a really powerful thought to sit with. It seems the art world and those who carefully navigate it really do have so much to teach us, even if we never actually get to, pack up Picasso ourselves. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.